Conservation Commission meeting is called to order. First thing, public inquiries.
Yes, we have one. You can identify yourself and let me know why you're here.
Okay, my name is Richard Bannock. I live at 77 Old Spencer Road in Charlton. Lived there since 1985. I have a concern with water runoff that has been ongoing from 64 Old Spencer Road with a discharge pipe coming out of a banking, trenched out to the roadway and dumping literally millions of gallons of water, and I'm not exaggerating when I say millions of gallons of water over the years. Flooding right now at this point, about 2 acres of my property.
Where does that end up draining? Down into the pond?
It's draining down the road, out of his pipe,
Yeah.
down through a trench about 2 feet wide, probably 150 feet long, to the edge of the roadway, runs out onto the roadway, erodes the road. The highway department is there fixing it almost after every heavy rainstorm, patching it with cold patch, runs down the road into a culvert pipe that goes under the road. Then at that point discharges over to, as you're driving down the road, on the left side is which I live on.
Yeah.
Then from there, there has just been a little bit of a small trickle of a brook that has run down through there over the years into Lamb's Pond.
Yeah.
Out of Lamb's Pond to Railroad Pond, down the brook, along the tracks into Glen Echo, and from Glen Echo Lake, I do not know where it goes.
Are you familiar with this? Rose?
Are you all, is that all?
At this point, that's all.
Yeah. So, this, at least that I have been involved, it started around 2021. No, 2021, Angela was here and she dealt with the situation. So this is the letter that Angela provided to the property owner from 62 Old Spencer Road.
64.
It says 62.
But it is 64. It's a typo. I'll put it this way, he's got 64 in his mailbox.
I'm gonna read what I have on the record.
That's okay.
So, yeah,
No
so
worries. But the name is correct, Arthur Gothia.
I hadn't mentioned his name.
Okay, it's up on the top.
This letter is to inform you of a continued violation occurring at 62 Old Spencer Road, map 4-8-1.1. On Friday, July 9, 2021, conservation staff observed excessive amounts of water exiting your property from a pipe located in the woods and discharging directly to Old Spencer Road, flowing down the street into a drainage culvert and into abutting properties. Under the Town of Charlton bylaw 171 stormwater and the supporting stormwater rules and regulations, no person shall discharge onto an abutting property or to a public right-of-way. During the latest observed events, it appears the amount of water has increased, causing the roadway to begin to erode and causing significant safety issues on Old Spencer Road. You shall immediately remedy the situation on your property to prevent the further discharge of water from the site. Should you fail to obey or perform remediation within the next 14 days, the town may, under Chapter 4.1B, may seek injunctive relief in a court of competent jurisdiction restraining the person from activities which would create further violations or compelling the person to perform abatement or remediation of the violation. Additionally, a fine of no more than $300 a day may be issued until the violation is resolved. The $300 day fine shall continue as long as the violation occurs or continues, and each day shall constitute a separate offense. Your prompt response to this violation is required. Please contact the Conservation Department immediately to discuss this matter further and with any other questions you may have. This is his copy, so I'm just going to give it back to you.
Sure.
If you don't mind. I don't want to misplace it.
I did have Officer Trethewey from the Charlton Police Department
We'll-
come down and do a observation of the water being discharged on April 3rd, just a few days ago. And I do have an incident report and a log report for that water discharge coming out of that pipe onto that roadway.
So,
And I spoke with Officer
So-
Lieutenant Cludia today, and he told me in the future to just call the police department, and they will enter it in as a log item into the police report if need be. They won't do an incident report, because the incident report will say the same thing over and over and over again, just to say that they've been there to see the water discharge, because he's been ordered to not discharge water for roughly 4 years now, close to 4 years, and it's been ongoing for about 7 or 8.
So let me just continue. So that was the letter sent to him. I'm trying to find the email that followed up with that.
So where does
So
all the
I'll
water-
find the information. So this commission was involved at the time. It was part of a public hearing. Angela brought up the situation, and a motion was made.
I don't know if you need to see that or not.
No, that
That's
is
the
not,
police
that, yeah, but that
police
doesn't
report.
involve conservation, so that would be more of a civil matter, so you can keep that yourself. If I can just update the commission
Well,
on.
what it states is it shows that there was a discharge taking place.
I am aware that the water
Okay.
is running on the
Okay.
road, yeah?
Okay.
So, Angela brought that information to the commission. I can come up with the minutes and, refresh everyone's memory, I just don't have that with me right now. She requested, I think Arthur Bill, Skip, went to the property with someone else. Wasn't you, Mitch, Ron? I know there was 2 commission members that went to his
Maybe Tom,
property.
Tom used to go with him a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, so the request was, and what the regulation says, that you may not discharge directly onto roadway or directly to an abutter. So since then, he has shortened the pipe. The pipe no longer discharges directly into the road. It's not there.
Where does the water come, where's that pipe start?
It starts in his property and discharges on his property.
And it
So-
discharges back about 100
It
plus
discharges
feet from
on
the
his
roadway.
property, but the water eventually does not contain within his property. It does not seep through his property, goes down the road towards into a catch basin, under the road, under the culvert, and discharges into a pond. So,
Where's the water come from? Are there
It's-
springs up there or something? Or is it-
no, he appears he has a pond on his property, so
Oh, that
instead
water's
of,
not-
instead
I've-
of the water
I've known Arthur.
overflowing and washing down on his driveway, on his property, so he used the pipe to discharge through the pipe.
I've known Arthur for
He
a
shouldn't have used the
long
pipe.
time. And that frog pond, I was there when he dug it out with a backhoe, when we used to be friends a long time ago. There's no way all that water is coming from out of that frog pond. It would drain that frog pond in a matter of probably,
Well, where do you think it's coming from?
huh?
Where's it coming from?
There's since been a development put up in the back up there. I don't know what's going on. I took a ride up there, and there are drains along that, I can't think of the name of the development up there, but it's behind him. I don't know if any of that water is making it down onto his property, and it's a pass-through, but there is a lot of water coming out of there. And Rose did not mention the fact that where he has discharged that pipe, he has dug a 2-foot wide trench over 100 feet long, about 18 to 24 inches deep, directing that water to come out to the roadway. And took the stone wall down to allow the water to come out onto the roadway.
Yeah,
there's a
so
chance that
that is-
water, there's a chance that water is being diverted onto his property from somewhere
Not
else.
his property, on the roadway, so the trench is new. I drove there, right, and, I noticed, I felt like, okay, is the water velocity and the amount of water that's causing this path, or was just actually purposely dug? Because that trench was not there when this all came in front of the commission and he shortened his pipe. There was no trench. The water was supposed to be, absorbed into
And what
his
is the
own
time, what is the
property.
timeline when you're saying there was no trench?
It was back in 2021.
That trench was there.
Angela never noticed that trench.
That trench was there.
There was no
I
mention
walk
of
that
the
road
trench.
every day with my dog, and I'm gonna tell you why the trench is there.
Well, I
tre-
know
the-
the trench is there, it's to
Okay, but I'm
direct the
telling you why
water.
the trench is there. Right next to the trench, at the corner, at its closest point to the trench, is the neighbor's elevated septic system.
Okay,
Now, if that water was not to be trenched, he would be flooding his neighbor's elevated septic system. And at that point, he's now directing the water along the side of it.
Right.
And at times, when we do have a lot of water, there is gray water coming out because I smell sewer water coming out of that,
So-
into that trench out onto the roadway.
So I can show the pipe discharging, because I went there the day after the rain, because I wanted to see if, something else had changed, so. Okay. See the pipe?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I zoomed in now, you missed it. So it came down. I'll pass around, guys. See the water?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and that's when I noticed the trench.
He
So
hasn't
it's right
changed the
there, the
contour
trench
of
is
his
right there?
property,
Yeah,
has he?
all the way up.
What's that?
He hasn't changed the contour of his property, has he?
Yes, he has.
I don't have
He's-
proof
He
of
has
that.
filled in
I don't
where
have
this
proof
pipe,
of that.
young Mitch, right? Mitch, where this
So-
pipe is coming out, the
I saw it from over
the
there.
slope of the
So
land.
the
he
water
built
comes
up on
down
the
here?
flat, and the slope of the land, he lives on a corner.
Goes down the
The
road.
slope of the land comes down this way. He has
It's
since
not
taken
going
and built
directly to
out a
his
big
property.
flat area
It's going
for a
under the
parking
road
area for his boat and cars and
towards the
stuff.
pond.
And that's
Has he
where that pipe
changed
is
the
coming
rain
out,
flow
in the
off
middle
the
of
property?
that built-up area. That,
In other
and
words,
that
is
water is being
this
directed
the
from
guy, by putting that trench in,
somewhere behind
is
the
he
house.
violating the wetland
There's
act?
a
Is
lot
he
of water
changing-
coming
No.
out of that.
Okay.
His little pond, is that behind his built-up area?
Well, he's got a pond probably, maybe not quite the size of this room out in the back, unless he's made it larger since I've been there. And it's not a deep pond. It's a frog pond, that's all it is. It's just for, I got a little lily pad pond
So,
in my
I mean, to
backyard.
wrap it up, again, it came in front of the commission, and the commission requested him to, shorten the pipe, to not discharge the water direct on the
I remember
road.
that, but I haven't been out there.
Yeah, not discharge the water towards the road, and not discharge the water directly into the body, which he has done. So, coming
Hey,
back to
you know,
this now,
Can
I
I
do.
say something about that?
Just a
Could-
second, let me
can I
just
let her
finish up.
please?
So I don't, if he deduct the swale, is still redirecting the water towards the road. That could be a violation of our stormwater.
Where did the water go before he redirected it?
On his property.
But
But
it-
it was, because I don't remember I don't remember the swale. I do remember the area completely saturated. And I remember the water going down towards his butters, where there was a septic, which there was a concern because the water was washing off his septic. That's the most that I got involved in. And after that, Angela came along and she dealt with the situation, so I was no longer there. But now that I drove by and I have a swale that is directing the water. It is as the same as if the pipe was all the way to the road. It's just he shortened the pipe, but now he did a swale, and that is discharge the water directly
I'm just
on the
trying to
road.
figure out in my head where all the water has been going for the last 20 or 30 years.
Right, but without the swale, if I understand this correctly, and I.
It's been going downhill to the neighbor's property.
Not
which is a-
neighbors.
but-
Which is
It-
natural runoff.
But
It
some of it
is.
would spread out, from the sounds of it,
Right.
spread out
In the
onto
woods.
his
So some of
property
it would
instead
be
of-
spread out on his own property, be sucking, by then rather any remainder of the water would go where it goes. He lifts up, he goes down the hill, it's flowing where it's supposed to be flowing. Down the road, inside the catch basin, into a culvert, under the road, discharging to the pond. That's where the water goes. It's the amount of excessive water that's making the difference, and it's the fact that he's now discharging it direct on the road. He did shorten the pipe, but with the swale there, it's just an extension of the pipe. That should not be a swale.
So some of it doesn't get absorbed into the ground.
Right, because it's just going directly there.
Yeah, probably none of it is.
Yeah,
You should probably do something, flare that out before it gets to the road after that pipe and put in 3-inch stone or something like that, just to disperse it.
100% within his property to
Yeah.
not allow, if some of it goes on the road, it's a natural course, but that should be not that amount of water
And
running the
not
road.
directed with that swale, like,
Not,
yeah.
no, the swale is an extension of a pipe, it's just directing the water to a specific point of discharge without inundating what's surrounding it, so that's, That wasn't my recollection at the time, at least that Angela mentioned to me, there was just a pipe that
Just
he
shorten the
shortened it.
pipe,
Yeah, and he did it, so that was the end of the conversation. When I saw the swale, I was like,
So he shortened the pipe,
But then he
so
added
we
a
thought it
turn.
would disperse across his property.
Correct.
He dug a swale, so now it goes the same.
same thing. So at these points, I would say that the commission has the right to send him another letter and ask him to, remove the swale and keep the water within his property, which that's what regulation
How
says.
far off the street is the pipe, does the pipe end?
I would say close to maybe 70 feet.
Oh, boy, it's gonna be
It's-
hard to
it's-
dig
it's-
something.
it's
Well, he
it's
could
at
shorten
least
the pipe
70
up.
feet.
Again,
At least,
Dig a hole,
I'd say probably,
extend it,
probably
flare it
close
out.
to 100 feet.
I say
got a
70 because I
video for you,
didn't
Mitch.
pull the tape. I don't like saying the round numbers. So, again, to my knowledge, when I was involved, that's where, see where the pipe is?
Yeah.
It's kind of zooming in, so it would be hard
Yeah.
for you to see. It's a video. Yeah.
How big's that pipe?
It's a long pipe.
Yeah, but what, a 5-inch pipe or?
I would
It's a-
say
It's a
6
four,
inch.
it's a 4-inch
4 inch
PVC.
six, yeah.
It's like what you would use for drainage on your
So
property.
now watch.
It runs down the
Yeah,
road.
same-
it's going where it's
4-inch
supposed to.
P, not the plumbing type PVC, it's the landscape PVC, the small,
Right.
thin
I
stuff.
just wanted to have it.
Yeah. Schedule.
Actually, the same type you'd use in your leach field,
That's the
except the
way
leach
it
field
is.
pipe has holes in the bottom.
Go back, watch out.
This doesn't have the holes, it's just a solid pipe.
Now it will show you what, oh, I stopped it there, so here, no,
I don't see how a little pipe can handle all that water
oh,
in
it's
the air.
moving. Well, it's doing its job, it's
Yeah.
just not sending the water where it's supposed to. All right, see how it goes down the
Yeah,
street?
yeah. Well, highway can't put a swale?
Highway has not showed concerns. So there's no need for a swale because the water, it has a catch basin right there and it goes right directly into it where all the road water go. And it's going under the culvert, under the road to a pond. Yeah, that's exactly what I just showed him,
That's the pipe
yeah.
Okay.
coming out of, that's the flats where the flat end. The pipe comes out of the bank and goes down, you can see the water coming out.
The
right there.
swale is what got him
And all-
into trouble.
When Rose says
Yeah,
that he
doesn't have a
showed,
chance
So
to
the
spread
road
out.
is right down here somewhere?
the trench, the trench
The swale.
is probably over to that side, maybe about 3 or 4 feet. So that water, the natural slope of the land is going that way. The water's gonna come down and follow that slope and go right into
So
the trench.
no matter how you slope that, it slopes towards the road.
That's correct.
Towards the road and towards his abutting property,
Or the
correct.
neighbor's leach field.
yes. So
So
it's,
it goes down the road, then off the road into the neighbor's property?
no,
Or it stays?
before the swale, as the water was being discharged direct from the pipe, it would spread it, and then some of it would go on the road, but until it got there, it spread it over the septic of his abutting.
What he has, Mitch, what Rose is talking about, is as you pull in his driveway, you go up to his land, the land slopes this way. There is, it's land slopes and there's a flat. That pipe, where that pipe comes down that I just showed you, if the water goes this way, it would go to the flat and fill that flat. If it was extended, shooting off to the right by about 15 feet, that water would have to stay on that flat until that flat was flooded completely.
Which-
And then it would come out into the roadway. But he doesn't want that flooded, so that's why when Rose said they shortened that pipe, the pipe did come down. Instead of going to the right, as I said, towards the flat, it went to the left. All he did was take that pipe that went slightly to the left, took it off, and put a 90-degree fitting on it, and a diffuser that shoots the water off maybe 6 inches to 8 inches away from the pipe. And then it's just gonna follow the
Correct.
natural slope of the land.
And the town has no problem with the water running down the side of the road.
They got no choice.
Well,
Right,
the
it's
water
gotta go-
will,
it's gotta
the
go.
water will go down the road. The issue, it's now is being
Directed.
diverted
Yeah,
to the road versus staying within his property and allowing it to sink or flood or whatever it may be. Because it should be his problem only, it should not be going on the road.
If you can't divert it to the road,
And
and
just
you
to-
don't
just-
want to divert it to his friend's septic system,
It's not that we don't want to, so the regulations is clear, you may not divert stormwater
No, I
to an
understand that.
abutting property or to a roadway. So he needs to figure out a way to keep the water within his parcel without us telling him how he's going to do that.
Gonna have to put a retention pond in there somewhere in the front.
Possible.
I
I mean,
can't,
there's no other answer. You can't run it uphill.
no, or he can fix,
Doesn't
so
need a
whatever is
retention.
happening uphill,
You don't need
yeah.
a retention pond.
Well, no, I say, I mean, if he puts something,
He's gotta put it back the way it was.
You know, sir, if you think about this, small frog pond, rain, half-inch of rain, quarter-inch of rain, in that frog pond is not gonna elevate that frog pond to the amount of water that's coming out of that pipe. That water is coming into that frog pond somehow, some way, and all he's doing is being a pass-through. Because all of that water coming in is making it down that pipe. If he just shuts that pipe off, problem done, problem solved. What's going to end up happening, I believe, without knowing and being able to get on the property and watch and look at it, is I believe water's coming into his property somehow, some way, I don't know, and which is causing his pond to elevate, which then he needs to open the pipe to relieve the pond so his backyard and his house
Driveway
don't
doesn't
get
get
flooded.
flooded,
Right,
right.
but what Mitch is, sorry, don't mean to step on your toes, but he was saying, we can't,
Tell him what to do.
what to do for the stuff coming onto his property, but what we can tell him is he can't speed up how much, and increase the flow off of his property.
Right,
Right.
So that's the only enforcement order we
Yeah.
could.
if he could show us that somebody behind him is diverting that water onto his property,
He still has to not direct his.
yeah,
wa-
but it
any
brings
water.
somebody else into it
Yes,
also.
right, right,
right,
right.
right.
I have lived there since 1985, and this has become an issue the probably the past 8 to 10 years. Never had this problem before, with lots of snow, heavy rains, the water ran its normal path down the roadway coming from Spencer and from Charlton, down into this culvert that Rose is talking about, goes under the roadway, and a small little bit of a brook, this wide, would go on an angle, probably about 300 to 400 yards, and make it into the north side of Lamb's Pond. Lamb's Pond then would just go right on down into Railroad Pond, and so on and so on and so on.
So do you
So-
need a,
But now, we've
Right.
got this issue with excessive water.
Is the excess.
What do you need from us?
need a
Well,
motion?
before, so you understand, so
Should we
Mr.
go out
Ben,
and have a look at it again?
100%. So before though, I thought that maybe given the swell, and it is a clear violation of our regulations. So I would say I will issue a letter explaining why he's receiving another one, and that we understand that he has shortened the pipe. However, the swell on his property is still directing the water onto the road.
So if he fills in the swale, the water's still gonna get out to the road, is it?
But not directly.
Not directly, it's
And
gonna-
not
some of it's
as
gonna-
fast and not as much, because again, he has to go through around 70 feet of land to
And
be
looks like it's all
absorbed, and I
wooded.
mean,
It's all
right.
wooded?
Well wooded, nice soil as Charlton has. The only problem that he has, and it will become his issue, is the water goes downhill. So downhill is his abutting property who has a septic system. So that's the reason why he probably did the swell, is to keep the water from going to his abutting property. But again, he's still directed towards the roadway, which is a violation of our regulations.
And if he fills in that trench or that swale as she's talking about, what's gonna happen is Evan, the guy living down from him, his elevated septic system,
He'll be
where it
flooded, right.
exits, because it's elevated, is the path, is the same height that the water's gonna come to. Now, you're gonna get to a problem where his septic system is probably gonna end up failing or breaching,
We can't
coming
work
out.
miracles
We
with
can,
it.
right, but then, again, so that's not us for us to say, but perhaps he needs to fix the water uphill.
At the pond.
What if he filled that swale in with, like 3-inch to 5-inch stone or something? Would that stop it, prevent, I mean,
It's just gonna
Well,
pass through.
this way, it might decrease the velocity of water, but it's still directed towards the road.
yeah, but the pipe's we were good with the pipe cut off before, right?
It is my understanding, and again, I stepped away from the situation when Angela came along, is that initially he shortened the pipe and the water was being direct on his property. I remember driving by and it was inundated. I remember seeing a lot of water, it was very wet, there's concentration, pounded water everywhere. That's the last recollection I have of it. So when I actually drove by and I saw the swale, I was like, these are news to me. I don't recall that, and Angela never mentioned in any of our reports the existence of a swale.
If he scratched that out a little bit, fill it full of stone, bring it back up to grade.
It's still gonna
I
go.
No.
understand your point, Matt. I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't know if they would slow it down enough to give it time to
Mitch.
spread out through the.
Whether it slows down or not,
It's-
it's still directing towards the road. He can't do that.
Well,
That is still gonna be a swale, just gonna be filled with stones.
That's right. You're creating a vein for the water to flow through
well, you
freely.
can't pipe the water to the road,
No,
but the pipe's what, 70 feet off the road?
which is great. He did that,
Yeah.
but then he
Basically made a sluice.
Yeah, he
he-
gave it a
yeah,
pathway.
It sounds like he's gotta make that swale go a little different.
He's
direction.
got to do
there
away
should
with the
be
swale.
no swale.
He's got to do away with the swale.
Yeah.
And
I'm
not
sorry,
have
I'm
it
sorry.
be,
He
not
He
have
has
it
to
be
do
full of
away with the
stone.
swale.
Gotta do away with that swale.
Take that swale away.
It needs to be gone. But again, and there will be his issue dealing with the water going to his abutting. There will be a different violation of the regulation because then he's going to be going towards his neighbor.
Yeah, but he's not diverting it. That's a natural runoff.
Too, but you
No.
can't
But
let it
he's
run off on-
discharging,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's still discharging
Right,
onto
but
somebody
to
else.
Mitch's point, is if, and I don't know the answer. to this.
His neighbor may have to put in, or he may have to put in an interceptor trench to keep it from the
I
septic
understand
system.
what Mitch is saying, is if.
No, it's not his,
No,
it's
hear me
not
out.
his
Is
neighbor's
if it,
problem.
if this is the link, I haven't been there, so I'm sorry if I speak out of ignorance. Gets rid of it. All right, now it goes, spreads through his yard in the forest, right?
right.
But it ends up into his neighbor's place and causes his septic to fail.
Correct.
I'm not an attorney, I don't know if the guy with the septic can now turn around and go after him. It'd be a civil
100%.
matter, and say, you're ruining my septic, I'm suing you.
That's right. That
Yeah,
will
he-
happen.
He could, but
Oh,
again,
that will happen. And
I
I'm
don't know if
almost
I misspoke what
positive
you're saying, but I
Evan
understand.
is the one who owns, who has the septic system, has a little tractor, is the one who dug it, so his septic system don't get flooded.
but before that happens, it is still a violation of our regulations because the water is affecting abutting property. So, and that's the goal that we have with the stormwater rules and regulations, to make sure that that doesn't happen. Imagine if everyone who has water problems starts discharging waters into their
It's pretty hard
butters.
to change, to control the flow of water when you're not allowed to control the flow of water. You know, it's-
Well, you can affect, imagine
But-
if your Ron decides to get his pipe discharging water into your property.
And that's not the natural flow when he created the pond.
It's not, he created.
He
right.
created that
It
pond.
is not stormwater coming from the
So he's
sky,
got to
it's a,
do,
it's
he's
a
got to do away
pond,
with that,
The swale,
Yeah.
yes.
swell.
with the swale. And if the water
But they,
leaches towards his friend's septic system,
and then his friend then his neighbor will probably be addressing this commission, doing the same as Richard is doing,
but we
because,
can't control where the natural flow of water goes.
Right.
If he puts it back to where it was,
but it's not natural,
It's
it's
not
being
natural when you're piping it.
discharged from
Right
his
now,
pipe.
yeah.
Well, now, but what
But
Mitch
now-
is saying is if he takes away the swale, and it ends
But what
up,
about the pipe?
take the pipe out of there.
Oh, you mean, also you wanna ask him to remove the pipe?
How far does the pipe go? How far back?
You mean how far back from the road?
No,
No, from the end of the pipe to the-
ends at 70 feet or so.
Yeah.
And how far does the pipe go beyond that?
Oh, you mean towards his property? I have no knowledge. I haven't been there. So I feel that the commission, at least 2 members should be going there to look at it.
I mean, because we did ask him to cut that pipe back, and I guess he did,
Yeah.
because we didn't hear any more about it.
He did it, but again, he
He put the
Yeah,
swale.
put the
So
swale, yeah.
let's
Somebody did that.
do away with the swale,
pixies.
Somebody did this.
and we were happy with the pipe.
Swale fairies.
Until somebody else complains that the water is going to the, and then we can deal with that then. But as right now, the water is going on the road and it shouldn't be going there, not through a swale. If there was, just some water going down the road because it was its natural course, would be one thing, but directing through a swale, it's,
Now, if it does away with the swale, then it's gonna be as natural as we could possibly make it.
Need the pipe was-
Well, we were happy with the pipe before, we shortened it.
This is the man-made pond. that he
Yeah,
made.
this is flat area?
This is his house.
Okay.
That's his house right there.
he should manage
Okay,
the
this is his
pond.
driveway. This
Okay.
is Old
That
Spencer,
pipe
this
should
is
not
Old
be
Spencer
there.
Road going down.
This is a
This
turnaround?
is
It's
where
an
he filled this
underground
one.
pipe with a
This is his pipe
stormwater
coming out.
system that
There's
brings
a
the
wet
water
area right here,
under
right
the
now.
ground
If he
and
directed the water
discharged
as he
under
was
the
directed
road
to take this
into
water
the
and send it off
infrastructure
this
that's
way,
already
this
there.
is where the water
That's
would
all what
stay
our
until this
stormwater is
filled
about
up,
it.
and then
You
would
can't
come
just
out
be
into the
putting
road.
pipe in.
What he's done
Changing
was
the
he's
rate of
when
flow.
he
Adding
was asked
stuff,
to shorten his
yeah.
pipe, his pipe did go in that direction. He took that pipe out and now he put like an elbow on it and diffuses it this way. Now the water just comes like that and goes into
So
that
why
trench.
doesn't he just put it into here and act as a small,
Cause he doesn't want that on his property. He wants the pond here, but he doesn't want the pond there.
see, he actually changed the original
Slope of the
flow
land.
because of that parking area.
I
But
mean,
if he
this
put
is,
it into here,
Yep.
and it would disperse,
It
if
would,
it overflowed, and some would,
to be honest, all he needs to go in there is get an excavator in there, or get something in there, dig a big hole, put in, like he said, 3 inch,
Put
have a
some
big
stone
dry,
in,
have a
yeah.
big dry well, and let that thing suck in
it's
probably.
a retention pond.
Yeah.
Several hundred gallons,
just
several
don't
thousand
know-
gallons of water, and it'll
It's a-
stay right there and leach right into the ground and be gone, and be done.
It is a stormwater 101. You keep the water within your property and you, propose any type of stormwater infrastructure,
but he's
retention
kind of,
ponds.
he's kind of pre-stormwater, isn't he?
Say it again?
Well, I know it-
He's grandfathered, isn't he? I mean, he doesn't
No, I
fall
got
under
it. I got it.
stormwater.
I can-
So our
I can
stormwater
get
does
that,
not have grandfather clause. Once
And-
it
and-
becomes an issue, the regulations are there, so you must
Well,
comply.
then, the only way to do that is to put a retention basin. I mean,
So
it could be a small one.
I feel the commission, my recommendation for the commission would be to, make a motion to issue a letter of a possible violation, request permission to enter his property.
Yeah.
Have 2 or 3 members of the commission visiting the property, assessing the pond, the area on the top, perhaps to see what the water is coming from.
Probably not gonna let us on.
And I don't know, I guess we could try, and then if that's,
Try.
if
I'll make
that's,
that, I'll make that motion,
if that's the
Thank you.
result, then we can move,
Then I'll
from
second.
there.
as stated,
I'm,
as you
I
stated.
make a motion that you and Alan,
Volunteering
Do
you.
I have a second?
I have a second right here.
All in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Well, what was the motion?
The-
What you stated.
What
Did I finish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stated.
Is it on the record? I don't remember.
It will
already.
be,
Are
it's
you still gonna
taped.
send him a letter? Tell him-
I'll
Ask
send
the
him a
commission.
letter explaining, and
It's a-
I'll
it's a-
copy the first letter that was sent to him and saying that we acknowledge the pipe has been shortened. However, I have, now that I'm the agent, I have noticed that the existence of a swell, which,
You want a photocopy?
no,
of
I
this?
have it. I just didn't have mine for the
You do have
commission.
it?
Oh, 100%.
If you don't, if you need it,
I do.
I'll email it to you.
I do, yeah, I
Okay.
do. And that we would like permission to assess his property, and that at this time, given the swale is directing water off the road, he is in violation of stormwater rules and regulations. And whatever he proposed to do is not going to be coming from this commission. Maybe he needs to hire an engineer and a professional stormwater, like maybe Graves engineer, to come up
well, I
with a
don't think you have to
plan.
be a rocket scientist, it wouldn't take much to.
If he chooses not, if he chooses, yeah. But, it has to work, so,
Okay,
All right, thank you,
yeah.
sir.
thank you.
I'll keep you updated. I'll be sending the letter, I'll copy you, I'll give him 2 weeks to respond, usually we give him 14 days.
Okay.
If there's no response, then I'll send him another letter letting him know that I'll be acting under the stormwater rules and regulations, and I will start the fines.
I can tell you that it's not gonna be received well, and I say that because when the first letter was sent about 4 years ago, his girlfriend or wife, I'm not sure what she is, who used to live further up on Old Spencer Road, closer to 31, made a comment to me when I was walking my dog by the house.
What?
Said, "Did you turn me into the town?"
Oh,
And I said, about this water in the pipe, and I said,
Right,
yes.
but we can only do so much, sir.
yeah.
I get that, but I'm just saying.
I understand,
She's threatened me and threatened to
we-
run over my dog.
Everybody on this commission, I think, has been threatened by
So-
somebody.
I mean, again, Angela dealt that situation in the past, so
No,
I
I
wasn't
usually
sure.
show him my piece.
We'll be informed of the documentation sent to him and what the decision is as it
A
happens.
quick question, have we ever heard any concerns from the guy down the hill with the septic system?
Not direct to me, no. But I do recall driving by when this was first brought to me, when Jerry was still around.
Yeah.
After he shortened that pipe, I drove by to see if he was getting on the road, and I remember seeing nothing on the road, but his area that
Was flooded
it
out.
was flooded. So I was like, well, it's working, it's within his property, and that's all great with the world. And that was the last.
Keep it
Yeah.
moving.
All
Don't wanna
right,
be-
so
don't wanna
I'll
be
keep
here
you
till midnight.
updated.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming over and bringing that in front of the commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you, are you going to do, another, drive-by to see when it rains and stuff like that, to see where the water's coming from, Rose?
So just, did I miss it?
Reason I ask is I gotta tell you something else you're not gonna wanna hear either, but I'll
So
tell you anyway.
let me tell you the date that I was there for this rain. It wasn't yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry, this is another picture. I just wanted for the director when it was there. Okay, there we go, April 1st.
April 1st, okay,
It was right after we had the rain on the 31st.
okay.
And I was like, well, if that pipe is directed towards the road's going to be flooded right now. So that's why I drove there on April 1st, and that's the first time I noticed the swale.
Okay. Did you see the, water coming from Spencer?
Yes, and I was wondering why you never made a complaint about that.
Because that's just happened in the past 2 years.
I drove all the way up, I'm talking about 300 feet of water coming down.
That's right.
But it crossed town lines, it's Spencer. I would suggest you, I brought it, actually, my assistant with me, because I had to show someone. So Mr. Bennett lives here, it's right on the depression, so he has the water coming from Old Spencer Road from the top, from where, just situation is, and then he has also water running down over 300 feet from Spencer, and they both pass his property and discharge into that point.
Right, but
So-
we can't force
So
it.
No,
Spencer,
no,
it
it's
has to go to
Spencer,
Spencer.
but it is
Well,
Spencer, yeah.
The water that appears to be coming out from a house that part of their
Yes.
property is in Charlton, and part of the property
Is
is
in
in
Spencer.
Spencer. And if you look closely, right
I
at
have.
the town line, there is a black, round,
I have.
flexible discharge pipe, 15, 20 feet in
I
off
have.
of the road.
I have on my phone. So my intention was to contact Spencer and try to work with them, even though you hadn't made the complaint.
Go easy on that guy, the guy just lost his leg, who lives there. He's a friend of mine.
But-
And I haven't said nothing to him
Uh, Yeah.
about the water.
There has never been a complaint from you regarding that, and I ever actually asked myself, how is it that you never complained
Past,
about
only
that?
the past 2 years.
Okay,
All right, but,
so, all right,
We're-
we'll
okay?
keep you updated.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Well, I want to thank everybody for
Yeah, of
hearing me
course.
out, listening, and
Thank you.
This is great, this is what I was looking for, I appreciate you
I
coming over.
want to
Yeah.
get this resolved so that I don't get eaten alive by ticks, because no word of lie, I
No,
get bit by
I mean, I don't
five
mean to
deer
rush you along,
ticks.
but we get some stuff.
You got more stuff to do?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we do.
We have a lot,
We have
yeah.
a lot.
I appreciate, thank you. So, next, approval minutes.
Approval minutes, I need a motion to approve.
Actually, we don't have the minutes to be approved, so
Oh,
we'll
sorry.
be moving forward, yeah.
We're-
So this is
Po-
head fake, okay. Was not on the agenda then, all right. Issuance of permits, DP number 128-1960, 75 East Bayless Road.
Yeah, just, public hearing was closed on your previous hearing, and now I just need the motion to issue the order of conditions.
Motion made.
Mitch,
Second? All in favor?
Alan,
Aye.
Ayes have it.
thank you.
Next on the agenda, notice of intent, DP number 128-1962, 54 Flint Road. The applicant has submitted a notice of intent to conduct the Mass DEP mandated capping of landfill.
We will be continuing to April 23rd.
I need a motion to continue to April 23rd.
Motion,
That's at the bottom of the hill in the field there.
The old landfill, right?
Sanders there?
The old, no, Flint Road.
Flint Road.
I'm on the wrong one.
Oh, it's the very first one, Mitch. Yeah,
We'll make a motion to continue to April 23rd at 7 PM.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
who's second, I'm sorry?
Mitch.
I think it was Ron.
Ron, okay.
Second.
All right, next, we're discussing an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation. This is DP number 128-1961, Sandersdale Road. The applicant has submitted an ANRAD to confirm resource area delineation.
will be continue it to April 23rd.
I need a motion to continue to April 23rd.
Motion to continue, April 23rd.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, determination of applicability for 30 Hill Road. The applicant has submitted an RDA for the proposed construction of a 28 by 28 barn and septic system within 100 feet of BVW.
Continue to February 23rd.
Wow,
Wow. April, you mean?
I'm sorry. Where did February come
Yeah,
from?
I don't know.
that's a long continuation.
I might not be here next February.
Do I have a
Either-
motion to continue?
Either I will, either will
Motion to
I.
continue.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
For the ones that are already continued, do I have to open them?
No.
All right,
Cool.
I'm liking this expeditious. Next, another ANRAD for 0 J Davis Road and 0 City Depot Road. The applicant has submitted an ANRAD to confirm resource area delineation.
Will be continued to April 23rd.
Motion to continue.
Second,
Heard Ron.
all in favor?
Aye.
That was a lot of continuations. Certificate of compliance for DEP number 128-154390 Haggerty Road.
It still has not been resolved, so we'll table it.
All right, now certificate of compliance for these guys. DEP number 128-1912-171 Sunset Drive.
That's Kevin Chambers filed the order conditions, a notice of intent, and had the order conditions for the his retaining wall repair, the removal of an oak tree, and the installation of a cement pad, as well as the replacement of a shed. He concluded the work for the exception of the shed, and he's requesting a complete certificate of compliance to close his order conditions.
Do I have a motion to issue a complete certificate of compliance?
Yeah, motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye. Does he have plans to put a shed up?
Yes, but he's closing, so he won't be doing it.
So
So
does he
you'd have to come in front of us again if you put a shed up.
If he,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So I should be watching.
DEP number 128- oh my gosh,
yep,
618.
yes.
Holy crap.
So
think
this
it's
was
before me.
actually for the construction of Charlton Middle School,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
yeah.
Well, the school's kind of built, so,
So I'll be recommending a complete certificate of compliance unless the commission will go for a thorough, a complete site inspection.
Oh, my gosh.
six,
Lot
six,
2, where the hell's lot 2 Oxford Road?
the school.
That's the
Oh,
school,
the school.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
They're
making,
they're digging down there, you
You
know.
ha- Well, so now they're doing the fire station, so they realize, oh, there's an open order conditions, and I go, that's what's for the school. So,
all
yeah,
right.
we need to close
That's
that,
gonna become their full-time main fire station.
yeah. So I need
It's
a
gonna be a nice
motion
building.
to close, to issue a complete certificate of compliance.
Make that motion.
Second,
Thank you.
all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right. Next, old/new business, Fay Mountain Farm contract agreement review/update.
It's still being reviewed, thank you. Next.
Lawyers involved taking a long time? All right, next, the request for removal from chapter 61B, Gould/Cemetery Road, parcel ID 10-C-2.
The commission voted on the previous parcel a few meetings ago, and now they're requesting removal from the same chapter for a different parcel. I would be recommending the commission to make a motion to not exercise its first right of refusal.
I'll make that motion, yeah.
Yeah,
There's Nothing we
Mitch,
need
yeah.
over there.
No.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Is that it?
This is it,
Do I make a motion for, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
unless the commission has any questions or would like to discuss anything else.
What would you do if nobody made a motion to adjourn?
Resign.
Who made the motion, anyone?
Nobody.
No, we need one.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Ron.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
We have things to sign?
Yes.